much higher this driver's seat is than the passenger seat across the top of the seats, where before this one was probably good 2 inches higher. They're almost perfectly even, which means we did drop the bottom of this seat down quite a bit. Hey, what's up guys? I'm working on the old 88 GT today, and I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm pretty tall. I'm about 6'4", and I picked up the seat extenders from LMR because in the convertibles the front seats are about 1.5 inches closer towards the front of the car than the hatchbacks and coupes. So they make these seat extenders just for this reason, and you can see the seat is mounted probably 3.5 inches further back with the seat extender brackets. The only problem is the seat sits up higher, so being tall, and sorry about the dirty seats, it's pretty nasty in here. Being tall, the last thing you want is to be sitting up higher, especially in a convertible, and you can see, got the camera about level here, how much higher this driver's seat is than the passenger seat. So it puts my head way up into the, close to the top. So I want to try to figure out a way to lower the back of the seat, keep the front where it is a few inches back, and this still slides forwards and backwards. So I think there may be a way I can cut off the back of these extensions, extenders, keep it bolted in the factory bolt location back here, cut off the seat extender, then bolt these feet down to the floor, which would drop it down about 3/4 of an inch or so. Of course, I can't bolt it directly just to the floor. I'll have to put some steel bracing, probably going across from one side to the other to for the weight support, which is basically what it does underneath the car. If you look underneath, they've got these metal supports here where the seats bolt in. So I'll just do something similar to that, maybe something that goes all the way across from one to the other. Just basically a piece of flat stock that'll run across. So I'm going to take the seat out and see what I can come up with. Alright, so here are the seat extenders. So I'm thinking what I can do is, because the front's good, the front's high enough, doesn't matter if it's a little bit higher than it was, but it seems to be actually pretty level with the factory height as far as the front goes. And I think the front's pretty important because you're still using these factory mounting points, and then you're bolting to this bracket. So in a rear end collision, you still have all the integrity here. The back, I think what I want to do is cut this off right here. This keeps the bracket bolted down to the factory locations. Alright, so I've got these cut now. That's how they were before. So now these are where I need them. I can go ahead and bolt these back into place. They're ready to roll. Here's a piece of flat stock picked up. See, to drill a hole in each side for the feet, the rear feet, and I'll mount this underneath the car and bolt up through the bottom of the car and put a nut on the top side here. I just need to mark the holes here to know where to drill those. One other thing, I'm going to be replacing this. This is a old red seatbelt. I don't know where it came from. This plastic piece is breaking apart as well. So I picked up a new plastic piece. This is Daniel Carpenter Restoration. I don't know where I got it from. Probably CJ Pony Parts, somewhere like that. Then also got new seat belts. So one thing that may not be readily apparent when you buy these seat extensions is this rear, which I've already replaced the seat belt. The rear plastic piece that your harness goes into. The seat is going to hit this. Now that you move the seat back, the edge of the seat is going to be up against this, and it's going to cause this to be pushed back when your seatbelt is trying to come forward, and it just doesn't work well. So I'm actually going to take this plastic piece off. I know it won't look as nice, but I'm going to take it off. There'll be less interference with the seat with this plastic piece off of here. So we'll see what that looks like when I put the seat back in. I meant to show you that before I took the seat out. Alright, so I've got the seat extensions bolted back into place. Replace the seat belt piece here while I was in there. So one thing we need to consider is the length of this, because you don't want it going past, underneath the car, past the hump here, because you'll get into the exhaust, and you don't want it going too far this way because you'll get into the frame rail that runs along this edge here. So this is probably a total of 2 inches wider than the seat holes. Longer rather. So I'm just going to lay it in here to where it fits just about flat on the floor. That's about how long you'll want it, is the width of this floor pan. And just to help me when I mark it next to the seat, I'm going to put some marks here in the general area where the holes would be. And that'll help when I go put it on the seat, against the edge of the seat, to actually mark the holes to make sure I have it right, side to side, because you may not want it centered because it could put it too far this way or the other way. So let's go check out the seat. So with the seat, so basically I'm going to hold on, let me set this camera down. Alright, so here's the marks I made. The bigger end was towards the outside of the car, so I'm just going to use this. Like this. Place it there, and then I'll just mark the holes where I want to drill. And that's it. Now ready to go drill holes. Alright, so I'm actually going to use the bolts that came with the seat extensions. This will come through the car, through this plate, through the floor pan, through the foot of the seat. Then I'll put the lock nut on it. So really my hole just needs to be a little bit bigger than this, and in this flat stock here. So I'll grab my drill bits. Alright, that ought to do it. I would recommend a drill press for this. Alright, there we go. Let's get this cleaned up. Put it in the car. Actually, before I go start putting it in the car, I'm going to go ahead and clean this with some brake cleaner, and then I'm going to put some bare metal primer on here. Now I do want to prime it, even though I'm going to have it welded in, because the floor pan is contoured. So the top side could get water in there and cause this to rust quite rapidly. So I'm going to prime both sides of it, and then when they weld it in, they can just grind off the edges where they're going to weld. Alright, so here's the challenging part. I've got the seat back in now, and you may notice it looks a little cleaner than it did before. I just did another video on cleaning the seat. So I've got the front of the seat on the bolts. It's kind of dark right here, and on the other side over here. So the front feet are good. Problem is the back feet are far underneath there, so it's going to be difficult to mark where the feet are, where to drill the holes through the floorboard. And the reason I say that is because when I go to slide the seat forward, the left set of feet and the right set of feet could shift front to back, and then I could have a seat that moves at a slight angle instead of straight back and forth. So I just need to try to slide this forward and keep the seat as straight as possible, just so I can get to those back feet. So let me try that now. Alright, so I was able to slide the seat forward, and I think I kept it pretty straight. So I'm just going to mark the floor here, just with a Sharpie. And that's where I'm going to drill through the floorboard. Alright, should be good. So I'm going to take the seat back out and drill these holes. Okay, if I had a really nice carpet in here, I'd probably pull this carpet up and just drill through the floorboard, and then just do a little small hole in the carpet to fit the bolt through. But I think I'm actually just going to drill straight through the carpet, through the padding and the floor. I did look under the car. It is very important. Make sure there's no wires, lines. There's the plug right here. The metal plate's actually going to be on the front side of it. It's that plug right in this area. So I'll be on the front side of that. So let me grab the drill. Alright, so I'm ready to drill this, and now looking up from above, you can see the hole appears to be just a little bit over towards the passenger side from where this is, which I think is fine, because when the seat's all the way back, it needs to be moved over slightly from where it would be in a factory position, because as you get further back, right here, the floor pan of the car comes out, so this hits the where the pivot point is on the seat, so the seat has to be moved over just a little bit just to get past this, as well as the seat belt piece right here. So I'm gonna go with these holes that I marked. If this messes up my carpet, you can't laugh. It needs to be replaced anyways. Alright, 2 holes drilled. So clean this stuff out of here and some metal shavings, and then I'll be ready to bolt that plate in underneath, get the seat back in here. Alright, I'm gonna get this camera out and get the seat in. Alright, seat's in. I'm gonna go under the car now with my plate here. I did a coat of primer on it. It's gonna go this way. So under the car, I'm just gonna have a bolt that'll go through the plate, through the floorboard, through the foot of the seat, and then put one of these nuts on it. There's the nut that has the little vinyl piece in it to keep it from backing off, like a lock nut. So let's see if I can get this bolt through there. Alright, so it looks like I misjudged how long the bolt needs to be. So, if I have one of these, it's about 1/2 inch longer. If not, I may have to run by some bolts. Alright, when I picked up some new bolts, here's the bolts that came with the seat extensions. Here's the bolts picked up. Same size as far as thread, but it's a little bit longer, maybe almost 1/2 inch. So we can get these through there. And there it is. Alright, let's see if we can get the other one in. Alright, that's it. Now, before I really snug this down to the floor, I see that maybe because the seat is sitting at slightly more of an angle than it was in the factory, I can see that this foot is sloped. It's not flat with the floor. So although I don't want to, I think I'm going to take this seat back out and try to straighten this out more and make it the same angle as the floor here, just to try to get a little bit more drop in the seat, maybe another 1/4 inch or so. So we'll pull this back out, bend those feet, re-bolt it, and then we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so as you can see, got this sloped a little bit more of an angle that matches the floor. I think that'll get the seat up just a little bit lower. May not be enough to be noticeable, but you know, it's done. And I just used a pair of channel locks and grabbed that and just bent it. It's pretty easy to bend, pretty thin metal. So now it's just a matter of tightening these up. Alright, that's it for the back. Now I just need to put some nuts in the front. Okay, so some more hindsight advice. Had to loosen up both of these rear bolts here and just push the seat over as hard as I could and tighten them back down just to give it another little millimeter of space. Like I said, this floor pan comes out right here, and you can see where the seat's rubbed against it. It's already torn a hole in the carpet from where it was before. But now I can slide this back just far enough to get it back where I want it. Since this is so close to there, when I lean back, it's going to be touching that. I think I'm just going to take this off because my seat belt doesn't really need it, since my seat back is already where the seat belt comes out. So I think I'm going to take that off just to avoid that hitting there and making a little rubbing noise. So let's take a look at the finished seat alignment. So as you can see, the front of the seat, maybe hard to tell from the camera, but this one's a little bit higher than the other side. However, the back is sitting lower, or maybe just about the same. But if you look at across the top of the seats, where before this one was probably good 2 inches higher, they're almost perfectly even, which means we did drop the bottom of this seat down quite a bit. So that should have me sitting good. You know, I felt like I was really tall in the car before, so that should be sitting good there. Just need to let the seat dry a little bit. I cleaned this earlier, just waiting for that to dry up, and we'll test it out. So that's pretty much it. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you. Let me grab my light. So if we take a look underneath the car, you can see right here is where that plate ended up. So when I take this up to the muffler shop to get some of this nonsense welded up here, especially those connections that I don't like, I'm going to have them weld this onto the bottom of the car to the existing seat bracket, which is here. There's the existing bolt that holds in the seat extension. Here's my plate, my new bolts. I'll have them weld in these bolt heads, and weld in this plate as well. That's why I wanted to prime it, because I'm not sure if they're going to weld this all the way across, and if not, you know, I'll get water and stuff in there, so I wanted to go ahead and at least have this primed. And yeah, that's it. So, but it does need to be welded. That is very important, because you know, having this metal plate on here will help in the instance that keeping the seat from going up. But as far as the seat pushing down on the floor pan, you need some strength in a large area, or else it'll end up breaking through the floor pan and starting to crack and come through the bottom of the car, which I've had happen before. On my 79, it didn't have this same style bracket here, basically just bolted more or less to the floor pan itself. So we'll get this welded up, and that's it. So if you have any questions or any advice on this little project I did, definitely leave some comments below. And not feeling like I'm shooting through the roof. Alright, please be sure and subscribe and like this video. Thanks.